Yes, I may lose you guys because the battery is low, but good morning, good morning. I normally don't come live this early, but today I'm working on some things and I just want to pop on here, whichever term, and let's just talk about it for a bit. Let's just talk about the topic that we are on now. Um, God's promise for children and just trying to implement different ways now. You know, the old school method versus the new school. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because I just feel like the old school way and ways are better, and the new ways of doing things, uh, I think if you just take a little bit from one and a whole lot from the other, and a little bit is from the old, from the new way things are done. A lot, to me, the old ways of doing things, because I don't know. When I was coming up, you know, it was just more of a community setting. It was that um, village that you always hear, oh, it takes a village to raise a child. And I just don't see that now. I don't feel it. It's just like, you know, everyone is into their own little world. And I don't know. It just seems like today, now, this here day and time, I just feel like our children are being failed. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I just feel like, you know, all the way around, even though there's new programs out to help guide, but I don't think the way it's being used is beneficial. I don't believe that the way, oh, how do I put this? Hold on, guys, let me make sure I'm charged. I don't believe, like, I know that there's new ways as far as education, which is a plus, but the programming to help a parent overcome some of the obstacles, I just believe that that right there, it's really not enough being done. And let me tell you why I say that. Because now, back in the day, if something was going on, then the parent, you know, they would say, well, you know, you have to take parenting classes, you know, like there were programs there for the parents. And I just believe now it's not happening as much. Like they walk in your door and suddenly, you know, your child is being snatched out the door, and you're being made to either feel bad, look bad. I just think telling a child, and in some instances, a child needs to know if you're being abused. Say something, open your mouth. But you know, putting that child against the parent, to me, that never works. That ruins relationships. But protecting the child, I'm all for it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And so, to me, that part is the cause of our children being out of control and just out there doing whatever they want to do. I think if you have that parent and that parent is old school, yeah, you know, go ahead and kind of bring them up to date, show them the pros and the cons. And the reason why you're there interfering is because, you know what I mean, some of these punishments are excessive. But when you walk into that home and you see that that parent is affected by the way they were brought up, if we don't change that in them to show them, you know, in a way, hello Uma and hello Blaze, from watching from Jupiter. Where's Jupiter? But only Jupiter I know is just constellations, planets. But if we do not show them that there is a better way of doing it, and you come in attacking, like, first of all, their gods are going to be up. Second of all, you know, you're not giving them a chance. We all know, when we all come from the old school way of doing things, that it's embedded in us. And that's why a lot of times I say we bring our trauma into a relationship and we pass it on through our children. I can't tell you how many what do they call it, incidents coming across my feed, and a lot of it is on Instagram, YouTube, not YouTube, Instagram and TikTok, where's, you know, the parent all of a sudden comes in, you know, there's a new relationship, and then that child is being abused by the person that you are sleeping with, whether it's a man or a woman. That is a way that we are failing our children. When the authorities step in and then you decide to take the side of the person that you're laying with, well, you know, that person is not guaranteed to be there for you. But your kids that you pushed out should always remain a part of your life. And so how do you trade one for the other? Again, I just think the way things are being done now, and the way our youth is out there committing these crimes, falling for any con job, it starts at home. It starts at home. And I said this yesterday, I said it before, and I'll keep saying it over and over and over. When you have a child, they did not choose to be here. They did not knock on your womb. They did not knock on your door. They did not sit on your shoulder and say, hey, I want you as a parent. And so when you decide that you're going to have this here child, then it's up to you to do right by that child. Because remember, they did not ask to be here. And I just believe that a lot of us that came from trauma, where we were either traumatized or abused, I just believe that before we decide to have children, and not just have them because everybody else is having, not just have them because all of a sudden I'm with this man and I just feel like I'm in love and he's in love, and you know, I just want to give him a child, especially when you know that that relationship is shaky and rocky already, and you decide to have a child. You put the odds against your child already. You put the odds against your child already when you know that that person that you are about to have that child with is not ready, or never said to you, I am ready. Yeah, you know, I hear a lot of, well, if he really didn't want a child, then he should have used protection. This is true. But if you decide to lay with someone that does not know how to take responsibility, and he showed all of this in the beginning, and you still decided that you yourself was not going to use protection, 9 times out of 10, it's going to fall back on the woman. And now here it is, this here child, again, that did not ask to be here, is here, and because the father or the person that you use to make that child is nowhere in sight, then you tend to take that out on a child. Again, we are responsible for our child's well-being. And then for the fathers out there, if you know that you did not take that responsibility to protect yourself and a child comes about, you owe that child. You owe that child. But the men as well as the woman, across my feed, there was a trial where a man was found guilty because he found out that he had a child, and all of a sudden he goes, give me my child, I want my time. So that would cut down on how much child support that I owe. And then he just got his child and met the child. I think the boy was maybe like 6 or 7 when he finally met him. And where's that child today? Underground. Why? Because at the end of the day, you had an angry father that the law said you have to take responsibility whether you was in a serious relationship or not. But again, we are responsible for our children. It is our job to protect them. And if you are coming from a place of trauma, then get the help that you need. And that's why I said the community part is missing. The community part is missing because, back in the day, it's like, let me tell you, I met some good friends, and we're still friends 30-something years later. And, we all just start off just, hey, how you doing? Well, one was through daycare, and we've just bonded. And, you can see the stress on that woman or that man, and you just welcome them. Hey, well, I'm here for you, let me know if you need anything. And it was met from the heart. It wasn't a thing of you just say it and just keep on going. No, it was met from the heart. And you just had that brother or sister that you never had, or brother or sister that you had that's close, and they were there to help you out. And the child knew, if I can't go talk to my mother, I can go talk to Miss Gail, and without saying all that's really going on. Because if a child has no one to trust, then that child is lost. That's the child that's in the street committing all these crimes because they have no one. And so I would just like, hey, okay, let's try something different without going into, oh no, she said you did this and you did. No, because I really don't need to throw all of this in your face, because in the end, you already know what you're doing. You already know what you are doing. And again, but if you're going to call yourself helping, help and not go talking about that person behind their backs. And that's another reason why, to me, I believe that the community, the village that should be there is not there, because this day and time is different. You go and say, oh, well, I was short on money, and so, I appreciate if, my child can come over and eat with you. Oh, do you know she ain't got no money? She spent it on a man, or she went out clubbing, and the child is suffering because now that parent is angry. And so they're no longer going to rely on you. Again, that village that used to be there is no longer there. It's not here now for our children. And I just can't tell you how many times that I just, again, normally it's on the news feed because I just don't watch TV like that. So whatever I see on the news feed. Um, these children are now committing crimes. They're like 10, 11, a 12-year old. A 12-year old took the life of a cousin for a cell phone. How can you be that angry over something that's materialistic? Like, where did that anger come from? How is that anger overlooked? Did the child see that type of anger because that type of anger was inflicted on to her? Guys, I'm telling you, we have to do better. We have to do better. We have to bring self-awareness. We have to change our ways of thinking, change our ways of doing things, because when it's all said and done, at the rate that this world is going in, a child in this day and time, by the time, if they live to be 21, if they live to be 21, like their future is no longer promised to them. And if they start a future, they would have to start it at 30, 35, because that would be around the time that they're getting out of prison, because that's where they're heading. And why? Like, what are we as parents overlooking? What are we overlooking? We see anger in them when they're young, and we tend to just smile. Oh, just look at him. Oh, just look at her. Oh, did she just kick that person? Did she just bite that person? Like, we see it. And we just look at it like, oh, okay. You know, when you're looking at the terrible twos at the age of 6, something is wrong. Something is wrong. When that child has a hard time communicating, and you're steady going upside that child's head because they cannot communicate instead of getting them the help. Like, you have to take that time to go take your child to get them assessed if they're displaying, you know, bouts of anger constantly. If they're just sitting there and not responding, it's your job as the parent to get your child the help, because then that means that your child has some type of disability that you overlooked. And it's not really overlooking, you failed to address it because that meant it was going to take some time out of your day. Or you did not address it because that meant that you had to look at your family members or your friends or your co-workers and say, my child has a problem. And again, a lot of the times it comes from our trauma that we did not address, or we did not know how to forgive the person that caused it. And some of my past readings, I said, and I will continue to say it, when someone has done you wrong, you have to have forgiveness in your heart in order to move on, because a lot of times if you don't know any better, you cannot do any better. And a lot of times it's intentionally done, it is, but you have to allow the Father to fight those battles for you. You can't fight them on your own. You really can't. And a lot of people do not believe in prayer. They don't believe in God. You know, it's your prerogative. But in the end, there is a God, and He does hear your prayer. And if you want Him to forgive you of the things that you have done, then you have to forgive others of the things they have done to you. And that's just how it works. If you do not forgive, then the Father will not forgive you. And, you know, we have to just, as a community, continue to see what's going on around us and offer our help and get back that village, the village that it takes to raise a child. But you also have to be very aware of some of the characters in the village. You know, they shouldn't even be around kids because, again, their traumas, they're just carrying it through life, and hurt people, and this cycle continues. So, you know, if Bob over here, you know, Bob has no children, but every time you turn around, he's not interacting. He's not interacting with you, first of all, as a parent. But you're always seeing him lurking. I would be very leery of Bob. If you see, you know, Sherry over there, and Sherry has no children, and she just not interacting with you, but she has her eyes on your teenage son all the time, and wanting to buy games and gifts and everything else, I would be kind of leery, because if you're an adult and you're not having any type of interaction with that parent, how do you bypass me and have all types of interactions with my child? My antennas would be up. If my child's behavior start, you know, they use this word called grooming. So you see all the new things, all the new catchphrases going on now. It's up to you to not be stuck in your past and try to, you know, regurgitate all the newness that's coming on, all the new, you know, technology is not the only thing that's new, the slang is new, like people move differently. It's up to you as a parent to make sure that you are evolving with the things around you. Because the more, oh, I don't need to know that, I don't need to know this, I don't need to know that, then you're not communicating with your child and things are going on. Like, I just don't ever recall someone just, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to get on the computer and all of a sudden somebody hit me up. Well, you used to have chat rooms that we can go into. But now people just, you know, they're taking it to a whole new level. Like, you know, they call it catfishing when, you know, it's like, oh, I'm gonna take a face and then put it on, it's not my face. And then, you know, the day that we meet, I'm somebody totally different. But the same thing is happening with these children. Like, they're going on to these different apps and no one's monitoring these apps, and then they're being contacted the whole time. These are grown adults. These are grown adults, because I'd never even heard of sex trafficking, really. Sex trafficking, what was that? Like, in my day, they don't want to grab no kids. You crazy? We were always hungry. So if you get somebody in there, okay, I just want to eat. You know, like, no. Now, this here day and time, they are snatching these children up. Like, how do you, like, what person, like, what is going on in your head? What is going on? What did you see coming up that have you believe that you can take someone's child, snatch them up, and put them on the street, not even on the street, but I guess selling them to, I don't even know how it goes really, and I'm not going to pretend, but what I do know is it is wrong. It is wrong. And it is wrong when all of a sudden you know that he has no children. Now all of a sudden there's always kids around him. Like, what is going on here? Because in our right mind, you would think, oh, those clothes, you're just, giving them away to the different churches because that's what some people do. But the whole time, you know what I mean? He is preparing these kids to, and a lot of them is under the age of 18, so they're still kids to me, to go and make him some money. But what the crazy part about it, again, that I take across my feed is that the women, they're helping. And so, when I think about it, it's like, why would this person be so angry? And why would you want to take someone's innocence away from them so did someone do it to you? And so now you're doing it to others? Like this world, this here world that we are living in now, there's a lot going on. There's really a lot going on. And if you do not believe that some of these people have demonic spirits around them, in them, then something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. But when it's all said and done, to me, it's the child that's having too much leeway. And I just believe now the times are so different and it's so expensive that some of these parents are working 2 and 3 jobs. They really don't have time to monitor their children the way they should be monitoring them. And people are watching. People are watching. So trying to survive, to me, is taking that parent away from home. But then how I look at it is that sacrifice worth it? Because it's not. It's not. And a lot of these crimes that's being committed by the children are from the ones that parents, they're not really home. They're basically, they are raising themselves. And even to the point of family, before it's like, oh, I have somewhere to go. Well, I'm going to drop you off to your aunt or uncles, or I'll have them come over. And now it's more like, it's not even don't open the door. Because I remember when I was coming up, if my mother went out, like, I'm getting ready to go shopping and do not open my door for nobody, and you knew not to open that door for nobody. And now it's like, I don't even think it's more of do not open that door for nobody. It's more of, okay, if you go out, be back by. That's what it comes down to. That's what it all boils down to. I'm at work, so now, be back in by 7, be back in by 8. Because some of us, we have to work that graveyard shift. We have to work it. But me, I just truly believe that if you pray about it and you pray to the Father to provide, He will provide for you. He will provide for you. Not being present in your child's life enough when they're still needing a lot of guidance is what having them on the streets. What is why the reason why these juvenile halls are probably just as overcrowded as the jails. We have to stop and think about that. We just really need to change our parenting ways. But the sadder part about it all is that it all falls back on the government also. The lies to get in office and doing the total opposite once they're in there. The programs that used to be is no more. So the resources are not there. But guess what? When they come to knock on your door to pull your child out of that home, They really don't take into consideration that the resources were not there. They don't care about that. A lot of times when the abuse is happening, DCFS, CPS, whatever, whoever you want to call them, have been to that door countless of times. So how are you at the store 3 and 4 times a month, and now that child is gone, but yet you was at that door 3 and 4 times a month? Okay, well, I just lost one channel. I'm sorry about that. But, again, it is up to us to make this difference for the sake of someone that did not ask to be brought here, for someone that you yourself made that choice to bring into this world, and now you want to act like they're a burden to you. But you're the burden. Because just like in the court of law, the burden's on you. You're the burden because this is a choice that you made. And I say it again, if you decide that you are going to have children and you have yet to deal with your trauma from your own childhood, and you pass this on to that child, the way you said your parents were wrong, now here you are the parent and you are wrong. But there are other ways, there are other resources, and we just need to try to bring back that village. Bring back the village. Let me tell you something. When I was younger, and I would say, "Oh, can I go outside and play?" And I left off of my block, and I knew I was not supposed to. Like, as far as I can go was across the street to that store, and I was somewhere else. When we went out to play, we always had to look around to make sure that there was no neighbors, number one, because they would go tell. And how you figure it out is like, you're saying, "Oh, hi, Miss Sandra." And then all of a sudden you go home. Well, I seen you on Fordham Road. Like, the only person you ran into was Miss Sandra. Like, oh my gosh, she went back and told. So you start to get it. Like, now I'm grounded. And back in the day, boy, when you grounded, it's not like now you're grounded and all of a sudden, 24 hours later, go out and do what you're going to do. No, when you were grounded, like, you went to school and back. And this could have went on for a whole month or months. But there was that village, like, "Oh, hey girl, yeah, I just came from over there off of Fordham Road, and I seen Gail over there." "Oh, okay, thanks." That's how it was. Like, you had one mother, but you really had about 10 or 15 of them. And guess what? Now, if I see Miss Sandra on Fordham Road and I was there and she said, "Go home," there was no back talk. There was no second thought. I left and went home because I know that if my mother found out that she told me to go home and I was still there, huh, mm, it wasn't even worth it. But now it's like, oh, but let me mind you too, that they would ask, "So your mother know that you here?" And now, if you see your neighbor's child somewhere, you know what I mean, and they ask, "Oh, did you see my child?" That's because they're looking for them. They're missing, and they've been missing 3 or 4 days. I can be somewhere, and all of a sudden it's like, ring, ring, ring. Like, I just came from that era of, why can't you just mind her business? Like, The eyes, and I'm talking men and women, the eyes that were on you was like you could not breathe. You could not breathe. Like I remember just going somewhere and I would see a friend, especially if I was with my mother. It's like, oh, I'm going into the store. Like I would do all I can to get like, my mother's here. My mother. We just had the signals like, leave, leave, leave. Especially when like the community, the village was so close that if I seen a friend while I'm walking wherever I'm going with my mom or whatever, and I know, like, oh my God, what you doing over here? Like I knew, like even if I had to let my mother walk ahead a little bit and try to do that mad dash, like my mother over here, don't let her see you, because we knew. Like how the village was looking out for each other, we was looking out for each other's children. We were looking out for each other too. Yeah. But let me tell you something. We just did not have that. This child was missing, this child was missing, this child was missing. Because even if a parent was driving, get in this car, I'm taking you home. But now your child get in the car, you have to think twice, like, no, no, no. Sorry, Mr. Bob, you acting crazy. And I'm not getting in the car with you. But then versus now, that's what I said. A little old school and a little of whatever we call in this new thing that's going on. Mix a little bit together and maybe we'll come out okay. Maybe. But we need to change our ways. So I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, and I will be back with a reading, my normal reading. And then Sweet Lips and I will be back tonight, 7:00 p.m. Specific time, California time, to speak about the children and offer up a little different ways, a little methods of trying to save our youth. Okay? It is Gail with To The Point. Let's talk about it. Spoke about it, and I will see you much later.